As in the Jewish Bible, that once a woman gets married, her hair becomes holy and it's solely just for her husband. That being written, it's important and actually encouraged to find a wig that mimics your own hair and makes you feel beautiful. Then by fulfilling this commandment, God will bless you.
I swear to my God, these Jews have more loopholes in their religion than Hamas has tunnels underground. So you cannot show your real hair, so you mimic it by putting hair that looks exactly the same like your hair. Why don't you just wear a headscarf just like traditional Christian and Muslim ladies then? Why does it always have to be playing games with God? You are tricking nobody but yourself. And also, if you are using the wig anyway, put it down. Why you look like KSI, Megamind? I can see your thoughts.
As in the Jewish Bible.
All right, shalom. First off, I want to start off with saying all praises, honor, and glory is due to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakadash. It's all praises to the world calls God, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, by Hashem meaning the name, and Yahushai being the name of the only begotten Son. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone, peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, preaching word and truth and sincerity. On the brother Tazabah, the great millstone, Arizona camp, Lord Weddle, with another video to edify. Yeah, man, you heard the dude. And I had to look this up, how the hell they came up with it. You know, how the hell they come up with this stuff. Because never is it anything straightforward. It's always a twisting of the scriptures with the small hats, right? So peep this, right? I went on Google, I put, where in the Jewish Bible does it say married women have to get a wig, right? And this is what Google's AI came up with. Automatically defends them and basically props them up as being right. Now, we're going to go to the actual scripture, though. It says, the Jewish Bible does not explicitly state that married women must wear a wig. Instead, the obligation for hair covering is derived from Numbers 5 and 18, which describes a ritual where a suspected adulteress hair is uncovered, implying that the hair was normally covered. The Talmud elaborates on this, speculating that married women must not go out with their heads uncovered, and really was all women, because Paul covered that. If a woman go about, let me get it. It was a sign of humility for women. First Corinthians 11 and 5, it says, but every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for it is even all one as if she were shaven. Right? So women prophesying, praying without her head covered, it was just a normal thing in Israelite culture that a woman would have her head covered. It was a show of humility. Right? Because a woman's hair is her glory. Right? But she didn't have that glory over a man, so she would cover it. But I even took it a step further. I went to Grok, right? But where in the Bible does it say a woman get her hair covered, right? Now, get a wig. Now, it says the Jewish Bible Tanakh does not explicitly state that married women must wear a wig. The practice of married Jewish women covering their hair, including the use of wigs known as shittles in Yiddish, is a custom rooted in interpretations of modesty laws, particularly within certain Jewish communities, rather than a direct biblical mandate. You see? What does the scripture say? Let's get this. Isaiah 8 and 20 says, to the law and to the testimony, right? What did it say right here? It said the practice of married Jewish women covering their hair, including the use of wigs, known as shittles in the Yiddish, is a custom rooted in interpretations of modesty laws, particularly within certain Jewish communities, rather than a direct biblical mandate, right? So they came up with their own, rather than using the direct biblical mandate. So it says to the law, the direct biblical mandate, and to the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And that's what we see constantly. These small hatters do a bunch of shit and push it out in the world like they're these chaste, modest people that are the image of righteousness in the world. And when they open their mouths, it's just a bunch of garbage fucking coming out constantly. All right? It says the closest biblical reference often cited is Numbers 5 and 18, which describes the ritual of the sota, a woman suspected of adultery. And that's really what it is, because when you go to Numbers 5, starting at like the where is it at? Yeah, Numbers 5 and 11. It says Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, "Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, if a man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him and lie with, and a man lie with her carnally, meaning having sex, and it be hid from his eyes, from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witness against her, neither shall she be taken with the manner, meaning she be pregnant, and the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, she be defiled, or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife," meaning what? He know this bitch snuck off and did this and that, "and she be not defiled, then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and she shall bring her offering and he shall bring her offering for her, the 10th part of the ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon, for it is an offering of jealousy, and an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance." Right? So if a woman committed adultery, you didn't know whether or not she did it, you know there's something off about this bitch. All right? What do? You go to the priest, you bring this offering, and it what is going to bring that sin that she did to remembrance if she stepped out. It says, "And the priest shall bring her near and set her before Yahweh, and the priest shall take holy water and an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle the priest shall take and put it in the water." So you get a cup of water, some dust from the tabernacle, put it in the water, right? "And the priest shall set the woman before Yahweh and uncover the woman's head and put the offering of a memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand the bitter water and that causeth the curse," meaning the thyroid rot when you keep going on. That's what this law is going into. So how in the hell did they come up with putting wigs on this? They don't speak according to the word because there's no light in them. These people have nothing to do with the scriptures. Nothing to do with the scriptures, man. Other than the lot of the wicked. Now, I went down, right? Look at this. It says the custom of wearing wigs developed later, particularly among Ashkenazi Jews. Which there's no Ashkenazi Jews, right? When you go into the word Ashkenaz, it's the son of Japhet. You can't be both. As a way to fulfill the modesty requirement while maintaining a aesthetically pleasing appearance. See? All vanity. The true people of the Lord wouldn't be focused on straight up vanity like that. All right? Now, I put here, speaking plain, based on the Bible's literal interpretation of the law, would the Talmud's interpretation be simply based on the law? It says, based on a plain literal reading of the Bible, particularly the verses in Numbers 5 and 18 often cited in this context, the Talmud's interpretation that married women must cover their hair, and in extension, the latter custom of wearing wigs would indeed be considered a stretch if judged solely by the explicit text of biblical law. You see? They just literally twist and mangle the scriptures and abuse them. It says, It says a strictly literal reading of this verse indicates only the uncovering or loosing of a woman's hair is part of the ritual's procedure. It does not explicitly state that married women must cover their hair in the everyday life, nor does it mention wigs or any specific head covering requirements. The verse is context specific to the Torah ritual, to the Sota ritual, and focuses on a unique situation, suspected infidelity, not general rule for married women's modesty. And this is how they twist the scriptures. Now I'm going to jump down, right? Because I asked it another question. It says, what other things in the Talmud would be considered a stretch based on the literal interpretation of the law and would be considered highly concerning and commonly referred to as immoral, right? And peep this, when I put this question in there, do you know that this stuff took about 6 minutes for it to pop out an answer? Because usually when you go to the AI and it's all this stuff, those answers come out quick. It took like 5-6 minutes for it to spit out a fucking answer, because it was trying to frame this thing in a way where it wouldn't put these small hats in a negative light, because that's their whole thing, right? Examples of Talmudic interpretations that stretch biblical law and raises modern moral concerns. The Talmud, as a body of rabbinic discussion and interpretations of the Torah, the written biblical law, often expands, infers, or derives rules from biblical verses through methods like analogy, inference, or cultural context. While these interpretations are authoritative in traditional Judaism, some can be seen as stretching the plain literal meaning of biblical texts, going beyond explicit commands or prohibitions. All right, now I'm going to jump down. It says, and it gives some examples. Number 1, child brothel, legal recognition of intercourse with minors. Literal biblical interpretation. The Torah does not specify minimum age for marriage or brothel, but we all know that the scriptures talk about the flower of a woman coming upon her. You wouldn't touch a woman until the flower of her age came upon her, until she had her period. That's biblical knowledge. That was the biblical practice. Because what? Then she was of the age to have a child. That's what sex was for, to have kids. It wasn't this whole straight up pleasure thing. All right? It says, verses Deuteronomy 22:28 through 29 discusses a man who seizes and lies with a virgin, requiring him to marry her and pay a fine, but without age details. All right, now I'm going to go down to the next one. Talmudic stretch. Mishnah, Nada 5 and 4. It says, the Rabbish established that a girl aged 3 years and 1 day can be legally betrothed through intercourse. How in the hell does that make sense? To lie with a 3-year-old. Who can get off on that? This is how these niggas are demons, bro. I'm gonna go to the next one. It says why stretch. The Bible provides no explicit age limits, focusing on general marriage rules. The Talmud derives detailed legal fictions and thresholds through rabbinic reasoning, creating categories not directly stated in the text. Now, the scriptures talk about souls destitute for help. Let me get that. This is Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 3. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land, the heathen, who thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices, because all this whole child marriage and shit, that's literally a source of witchcraft. It's called sex magic, defiling the innocent. It says, in wicked sacrifices, and also those merciless murderers of children, devourers of men's flesh, and in the feast of blood. So this is a merciless thing. And how the hell does a grown man pop a 3-year? These fucking devils, man. With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crews and parents that kill with their own hands souls destitute for help. Destitute of help. And this is what these heathen do. They prop up these laws in their own thing and use the scriptures as a covering for them. I'm going to go to the next one. It's the slavery. Well, we know that slavery ain't against the scriptures, right? Morally, people today think that slavery is bad because of what? How Esau's done slavery, right? When we put the heathen in slavery, there was a time where they got beat into submission. But once they got the rules, the law of the land, right, and they function right, you didn't just keep beating their ass to smithereens. You didn't gator bait them. You didn't buck break the males. That wasn't something we did. That's something Esau did. It says the Torah permits slavery, distinguishing between Hebrews limited to 6 years, treated leniently. It says slaves permanent and inheritable, Leviticus 25:44 through 46. A father can sell his daughter as a servant, but she must be freed if mistreated or not married to the master or his son. Punishment for injuring slaves are limited, right? Talmudic stretch. The Talmud unifies rules for Jayish and non-Jayish slaves in many cases, but preserves distinctions allowing perpetual enslavement and harsher labor for non-Jays. It expands manumission conditions to include loss of any of 24 limbs, not just eyes or teeth, but it says non-Jays slaves must be circumcised and immersed, stretching Canaanite to all Gentiles. You see this? This is what they do. Why I stress the Bible rules are specific to ethnic groups and basic treatments. The Talmud adds procedural details, broadens categories, and creates new obligations like conversion, proposal, inferring from spares, verses. All right, now I'm going to go to the next one. It says treatment of rape and property damage. Discussion. That's it on that, man. But as you see, man, these devils don't follow the scriptures. They don't. They don't. You got big head, big forehead ass, long nose ass motherfuckers like this that don't follow the scriptures and act like what they say is just biblical truth. And it's not. And when you put them up to the magnifying glass, you put them under scrutiny, you see that these people cannot be the people of the Lord. Look at how they move. They don't uphold the word of the scriptures. They don't have light in them. These are the wicked. This is Proverbs 2. Proverbs 2:12. It says, to deliver thee from the evil man, from a man that speaketh forward things. This is what these devils are. They speak forward things, who leave the path of uprightness, and Jake has done this too, right? Jake has left the path of uprightness to walk in the way of darkness, who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of wickedness, whose ways are crooked, and they forward in their past. And that's how these devils move. They don't delight in the right way, man. They say, what profit is it to serve the Lord? You can get that, man. Spell profit one. Yeah, I think this is it. Job 21 and man, it really starts at the 6th verse, man. Verse 6, it says, even when I remembered, I am afraid, and trembling taketh hold of on my flesh. Wherefore do the wicked live, become old, are mighty in power. And this is how Esau lives. Their seed is established in their sight with them, and their offspring before their eyes. They get to see their kids take over industry, have all this wealth. Their houses are safe from fear. Neither is the rod of the Most High upon them. Their bull gendereth and fell it not, meaning what? They're constantly growing in wealth. Their cow cleaveth and casteth not off, meaning their livestock is always growing. If your cow claveth, right, meaning it's birthing, right, it becomes pregnant and casteth not her calf, meaning it doesn't miscarry. The calf comes to full maternity and is birth. They send forth their little ones like a flock, and their children dance. They take the timbrel and harp and rejoice at the sound of the organ. They spend their days in wealth. These niggas got money to buy a wig that just look like their own hair. Them wigs ain't cheap. You know they ain't buying the fake shit. No style, no seasoning. And when you see them out in the back, man, the kids is out of order, man. Everywhere. They spend their days in wealth, and in the moment they go down to the grave. Therefore they say unto the Most High, depart from us, for we desire not the knowledge of thy ways. And this is how the way they interpret the scriptures and they twist these things. You can tell they don't desire the knowledge of the Lord. What is the Almighty that we should serve him? And what profit should we have if we pray unto him? And this is how the wicked operate. And the world is starting to see it. That's why everybody coming up against this devil, man. You just had Turkey cut off all trade with the land of Israel. Right? This is Isaiah 26:10. It says, let forever be showed to the wicked. Who's the wicked? Let's get it, man. Malachi 1:4, whereas Edom said, and Amalek, who are those small hatters in the land today, are the same ones that people call Ews, right? Ews. The same ones that they call those. That's just Amalek. It's an Edomite. We are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus say Yahweh hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness. So Esau, Edom, and Amalek, the small hatters over there, that is the border of wickedness. That's who, right? These are the people where which wickedness comes from. And the people against whom Yahweh had indignation forever. Because even when you go back to the law, what did the Lord say about Amalek? He would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. And as you see, these devils, have, since they've had that land, right? And even before, these devils had not once had a period of peace. The Lord keeps rising up the heathen against him. It says, let favor be showed to the wicked. Isaiah 26:10, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh. And that's what the world is seeing, that this devil cannot move in a conducive way towards righteousness. Everybody coming out, even Ishmael in this video, man, he said it straight up. He said it straight up. Why do you play with God? Because these people ain't the chosen people. That's why they play with the Lord, man. It's Habakkuk 2:4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. These devils are not upright. They're not going to uphold righteousness. And in these last days, the whole world is seeing it. That's why they got to sit here and come with predictive policing. Because if you said something against them, they want to shut you down. These are those devils, man. The Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to say, call Allah, Yahweh, Shai, Bashim, Crocodile, Shalom.